the brand new electric mountain bike company coming out of Sydney, Australia with a new motor. A lot of question marks here. Let's find out if the Aussie underdogs have done enough to take a bite out of the electric mountain bike market. Riders, welcome back to Sam's Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes, and today we are looking at the VMG Typhon coming out of Sydney, Australia for 2,750 euros for the frame kit, or it's also available starting from 4,100 euros, which riders, you would agree in 2020, that is pretty impressive for the pricing. And riders, I want to say sorry, I know a lot of you have been waiting for this review. It's been a super busy 6 weeks. I got a nasty bit of COVID. We also moved house. Check out the new backyard, super amazing. And let's thank the sponsors before we crack on with the review. Schwalbe, making amazing electric mountain bike tires. Quadlock, the best solution for your smartphones if you want to ride your bike with your smartphone. And Insta360, making the smallest action camera on the market. So first off, who are VMG? VMG is a company based out of Sydney, Australia, owned by Chris Ting. Chris started his company making high-end stand-up paddleboard fins and windsurfing fins in the professional market before he was bitten by the electric mountain bike bug and decided that there was a market for a high-end performance electric mountain bike for an affordable price. And that's when the VMG Typhon was born. About 9 months ago, I got this random call from Chris. G'day mate, love the channel, and I'd love you to test my new electric mountain bike. And I said, Chris, I get a lot of these requests. To be honest, send me over the blueprints of geos and I'll take a look. And I definitely was not expecting this. The VMG Typhon is a full carbon frame, rolling on mullet, so 29 at the front, 27.5 at the back, 170 at the front and 160 suspension in the rear, with a 95 Newton meter Bafang M510 motor with a whopping 840 watt hour battery, coming in around 23 to 24 kilos depending on build and size. Geometry numbers in a large 476, seat tube angle 78 degrees and a head tube angle of 63.5 degrees, and a reasonably short chainstay of 443. The Typhon is rocking a 4-bar horse link suspension with 30% progression, designed for coil and air. But remember, new bike, new motor, so all those numbers mean nothing if it doesn't ride well out in the trails. Okay, so we're sick of geeking out over those numbers. How does the VMG Typhon ride? Well, I've done about a week of testing on this bike so far, and I have to say, I've been blown away. Like 170, 160, the bike rides like, I'm gonna say, in between maybe like a super enduro and a trail bike. I don't know. Whoa, over the side. I don't know, I mean, 170, 160 is a big bike, but you know, this bike rides light. It surprises me. It's obviously better in enduro trails, but it's not like too boring to ride on trails. 63.5 head tube angle does make the handling a little bit slow if it's not too steep, but we like riding steep anyway. I'm gonna go back to how it rides because it rides light. Like, we've got an 840 watt hour battery on this beast, and I was jumping it for the first time at my local Morfethal, and it just floated over, coming in at 2,750 euros, and rides as good as this. I mean, I've got to say, I think Chris has knocked it out of the park here. Like, really. I might be a little bit biased, Aussie and all, but I'm going to say this has to be one of the best value e-bikes on the market right now I've tested. And talking about the Geos, like 443 chainstay with 160 at the back. I mean, that's a bit of a feat of engineering, because normally 150 you get a shortest chainstay on a mullet, but you don't normally get it with 160. So definitely the bike feels playful, but also stable. Yeah, I've been really impressed with my time so far. I want to add a few more things. When I first jumped on the Typhon, I felt at home straight away on the bike. Like, I got up to speed on this bike within about a day, and I really felt comfortable as soon as I got on it. And that's something you normally get from the high-end brands. And so it really shows that Chris has done his homework. And clearly where this bike absolutely shines is enduro / downhill trails. I felt it with 170, 160, and also the geometry with a shorter chainstay. I felt it nice balance between stable and playful. So it's kind of in between like a really big super enduro bike and a trail bike. So I really like that mix. When you go off to ride sort of flatter trails at a trail center, 63.5 degree makes the steering a little bit slow. It's a little bit boring, but as I said, the bike does ride light. So it's in its element enduro riding, but it's fine trail riding as well. And jumping, and you'll see it now in this slow motion, there's quite a big jump. I hit it about 10 times on this bike. First time, absolutely no problem. I found the bike pretty poppy, even with the coil on the back, and quite nimble in the air. I don't know, it does ride and jump lighter than it is with 23 or 24 kilos. Now let's talk suspension. Paired with the EXT E-STORIA, I was blown away by the suspension. Really sophisticated. I felt it very supple off the top. I spent a lot of my time in the mid travel, so my active sag. And when I needed it, when I bottomed out, and you'll see here in the bottom out, it actually has this really nice pause between mid and bottom out. And when you do bottom it out, it has this bottomless feeling. So I was really impressed with suspension, definitely top quality. And climbing, the Typhon is not the best in its class. We've got 170 at the front, we've got a shortish chainstay, so obviously it's not gonna be as good a climber, but if you get your technique right, if you bend your elbows down, head over the handlebars, you can climb anything. And paired with the 95 Nm Bafang M510, I found it loads of power and also usable power. The wheel didn't spin out, and when I was getting technical areas, like I wanted to stand up and push a little bit, it didn't over push the bike or under push the bike. I found it quite controllable under full power. And now would be the time to talk about my bling build of the Typhon. I have a lot of respect for what Chris is trying to do, play with the big boys in the mountain bike industry. Normally something like this is really only accessible for the big companies. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to put this bike in the best possible position to do well in this test. And that's why I built it like this. So starting off, we've got Schwalbe Magic Mary front and back. Love the Schwalbes. We have a quad lock here because you got to have your quad lock on a bike. We've also got Industry 9 grade 300 wheels, Industry 9 stem, Renthal bars, MT7 brakes. I actually changed them. I tried Shiguras, but riders, I was not a fan of Shiguras. I couldn't get a good bleed. I couldn't get a good feel. So I went back to Magura's front and back. And the suspension, Fox 38s at the front and the amazing EXT E-STORIA. I have loved this coil. Long-term review of this coil coming. Wireless shifting and dropper by RockShox, Sam Hill flat pedals because they win medals, and Miranda 160 cranks. I'd have to say, riders, this is one of the best dream builds I've done. I know I'm a super lucky rider, and when I unboxed the frame kit, you know, people might be asking, what's the quality of the finish like? I'm gonna say it's up there with pretty much all the mainstream brands. And when I asked Chris, I said, you know, where's it made? He goes, look, all I can say is there's a few other high-end electric mountain bikes made in the same factory. Okay, seeing this is an electric mountain bike, let's have a look under the bonnet at the new Bafang M510 paired with the whopping 840 watt-hour battery. This is the first time I've tested a Bafang motor, and if I'm 100% honest, the first couple of rides I wasn't that impressed. I sent some feedback to Chris, he sent the feedback to Bafang, and I got a few firmwares sent back to me. I tried all of them, and we got pretty close to a feeling of somewhere like a Bosch. The motor for me has loads of power, but it also feels a little bit more like a Shimano EP8 because it likes to be in sort of 80 to 90 cadences. You also find yourself running out of gears very quickly because it likes to be in the high cadence and it's got a lot of power. You're changing the gears a lot. I also found the motor under load reasonably quiet. I would say probably like an EP8, maybe a little bit noisier than an EP8. And I dare say the power is on par or maybe a little bit faster than a Bosch and a Bros. I mean, I also found what I didn't like about it was it sometimes was a little bit jerky. So you've got a lot of power here, but it's not as refined as the other systems. And something I'm not sure about is if the motor has a rattle or not. I'm not sure if it's the cables under the battery or a rattle coming from the motor. There's definitely something there, and I'll need to do some continued testing. And obviously we need to talk about range paired with the 840 watt hour, so massive battery. I haven't managed to do a range test. I haven't actually run out of battery. So I will be doing that in the future, but I would imagine, seeing this has got 95 Newton meters of power, I would imagine we'll probably get somewhere between 1,300 meters of vertical climbing and around 1,800 meters of vertical climbing. But that range test will be coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe to Sam's Bikes. So overall, I think Bafang have done a good job of the M510. Loads of power, can definitely play with the big boys, but I think the motor needs some refinements. And Bafang have just released IoT, which will allow you to tune your motor kind of a little bit like the other applications out there, and also do over-the-air updates on your system, also navigation turn by turn, and also security for your electric mountain bike. So this shows me Bafang really want in the high-end electric mountain bike market. And it's not all gravy. The things I have not enjoyed riding the Typhon. The battery fits in quite well, and you have a key to lock it, which, you know, I'm not that happy with the key. I'd like to see if Bafang maybe made it to a 5 or 4 mil Allen key, which would be much more handy for mountain bikers. And also the battery does squeak a little bit, not all the time, just sometimes. And for me, this wasn't a problem, but I need to mention it. The battery needs to be charged outside of the bike because Bafang changed where the battery was being charged after Chris had made the frames. So unfortunately for Chris, he'll need to do some changes for the second batch, but for the first batch, you'll have to charge the battery outside of the bike. I also broke the motor protector on the third ride. Chris knows about this. He's made a stronger protector, which will be available in the next couple of weeks. The Typhon is available in 2 sizes, medium with a reach of 446 and a large of 476. And an XL possibly is coming in the future. I'm 183 centimeters and I'm riding the large with a 40 mil stem. And I'm gonna say this bike fits me like an absolute glove. I definitely wouldn't be sizing up or sizing down. Typhon is available in a frame kit for 2,750 euros or a trail build 160/160 for 4,400 euros and an enduro version for 5,100 euros. The first batch is hitting Australia in 4 weeks and just under 40% of the bikes are spoken for. Warranty on the Typhon is 2 years on frame and 2 years on motor. And because the motor, the battery, the display and the remote is all Bafang, if you do have a problem with the system, it's gonna be easier to sort out. And now down to my favorite part, who is the Typhon for? I reckon the Typhon is perfect for someone that wants to build a dream bike. At 2,750 euros, you could put a budget of 5,000 or 6,000 and you're gonna get a killer build. Also, I see it perfect for a rider that wants to support a small company, because obviously a lot of us don't want to just be riding all the same bikes. And thirdly, I see it perfect for someone that might be riding an older electric bike from 2018-19 or an older enduro bike and they want to cannibalize their old bike and build themselves an affordable electric mountain bike. Now down to the $1,000,000 question, would I buy the VMG Typhon today with my hard-earned cash? I'm gonna say bloody oath. I've had a fantastic time on this bike. I love what Chris has done here. Yes, I'd like to see those improvements done on the Bafang motor. I think it is a great option for someone that is looking to get a performance electric mountain bike for an entry-level price. And that, for me, is probably one of the best value electric mountain bikes on the market right now, with great kinematics and great geometry. So definitely I'll be proud to have this in my stable. And riders, that's it for me today. If you have any questions on the Typhon or any other electric bike, please let me know. And you know, if you have not subscribed to Sam's Bikes, please do so. Share it with like-minded people, and I'm gonna see you soon.